Hello and welcome. I'm Larry Lowe, the third vice chair of the DeKalb Democratic Party. And here we'll be speaking with candidates from Brookhaven, also from Chamblee. Tonight we'll be live streaming on our YouTube channel, which is at DeKalb Dems, also our Facebook channel, which is DeKalb Dems, and on X, which is formerly Twitter, DeKalb GA Dems. Please visit DeKalbDems.com for more and consider donating, becoming a member, and volunteering with us. Now I would like to introduce you to the chair of the DeKalb County Democratic Committee, Brandy Witch.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. As Larry shared, my name is Brandy White. I'm the chair of DeKalb County Democratic Committee. Welcome and thank you for coming to the first of our 6 2023 nonpartisan municipal forums. Tonight, we will hear from municipal candidates from both Brookhaven as well as Chamblee. And we hold these forums because we cannot stress enough the importance of voting in every single election. We like to say that politics is local, meaning that elected officials that are local can have the most impact on your life and your family. And we are going to start off this evening. I'm going to be introducing our moderator for tonight's Brookhaven discussion. So our moderator for Brookhaven discussion is Shavonda Miles. She is a Georgia native and a longtime resident of DeKalb County. She has over 15 years of media and communications experience with CNN, and she has devoted years of working with multiple political candidates, including former Representative Zuma Lopez of District 86, who became the first Latina elected in DeKalb County. And most recently, in 2022, she helped the statewide Georgia Labor Commissioner Democratic nominee, William Bodie. Today, she continues to assist clients with developing strategic media strategies, and we are very excited to have Shavonda here leading our forum for Brookhaven this evening. Shavonda, thank you so much for being with us, and I am going to pass it over to you now.
Thank you, Ms. White. I appreciate the introduction. And today we're going to start with our candidates with the Brookhaven municipal elections. So thank you so much. And first, we will start with each candidate giving 60 seconds for an opening statement. So I will start with, one second, John Park, who is the incumbent mayor. Thank you so much. You have 60 seconds to do your opening statement.
Hi, I'm actually not the current mayor. I'm really excited to be here and I'm looking forward to answering all your questions today. But before we start, let me introduce myself. I'm former council member John Park. I'm the longest serving council member for 9 of the 10 years Brookhaven has been incorporated, spanning 3 different administrations. My day job is in informatics consulting for the CDC and other public health agencies. Our team built a national database to track COVID-19 lab results and surveillance information, as well as helping laboratories report COVID results. As a council, we've taken care of the basics. Parks, paving, police. We have the safest city in DeKalb, the best police force, the highest paving index score in Georgia, and world-class parks. In addition, we've built the model mile of the Peachtree Creek Greenway. We fixed major stormwater issues and flooding. We acquired 41% more green space in Brookhaven. All this is the lowest taxes in DeKalb, and with a millage rate of 2.74, which is a lot less than the 5.042 millage rate for just DeKalb police. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next candidate is Mr. Mark Douglas.
It's actually Mark Frost, like the sign says, but that's my middle name, but call me whatever you want. I'm delighted to be here and be invited to this process. This is my first foray into the public service elected office realm, and I'm already fascinated by the process, and this is part of it. I mean, what's the most gratifying to me is the level of dedication to servant leadership of the other candidates, as far as I can tell and what I've read about them, that their desire is to spend their time and their efforts and their energy and use their talents and abilities to make Brookhaven, if not the world, a better place. And I consider myself in good company. That said, those are the similarities. The differences to me is that I have a completely different plan for Brookhaven than I think the other candidates. To me, it's very apparent that right now, I would say about half of Brookhaven residents are struggling, living paycheck to paycheck. This inflation has just absolutely, especially seniors, has just devastated some households. And there's a lot of people having to make hard choices. So And I know when I've said this to other people, they look at me like I have a foot growing out of my head, but it's why can we not lower taxes? Not just a little bit, why can't we offset the valuations with lowering the millage rates? And then why do we need a $78 million city hall? I mean, it's kind of like the movie The Hunger Games, where we're saying we'll go to a castle and we'll let the peons eat the crumbs.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. And we also have an opening statement for Ms. Lauren. I hope I'm saying her name correctly, Kiefer. So I will read it in her behalf. I have her statement. It says, hello, thank you to DeKalb County Democrats for hosting tonight's forum. I'm sorry I'm not able to attend today, but I look forward to speaking with you all soon. My name is Lauren. I hope I say my last name correctly, Kiefer. And I am running for mayor of Brookhaven. In the last 10 years, our city has accomplished so much, from hiring our first employees to building the infrastructure that makes this city the best place in the metro area to live, work, and play. We have had a chance to evaluate what works well for us and where we need room for improvement. And as someone who has built a business and raising 2 children and taking on many civic leadership roles along the way, I am equipped to make those evaluations and to act collaboratively with our city councilors. Through my experiences working as an executive director of the Peachtree Creek Greenway and the chair of Brookhaven Arts and Commission, and as a candidate, I have spoken with many of our residents who believe that the city is making sound financial decisions. Thank you so much. And our last candidate will be Ms., I hope I'm saying her name correctly, Hilary Lind.
Yes, good evening. Thank you guys for having me here today. My name is Hilary Lind, and I'm dedicated to this journey to help the city of Brookhaven to realize its true potential by becoming mayor. With my years of experience on the local, state, and federal levels, I've remained steadfast in my commitment to the community, to being the change that I wanted to see in the world. I'm an accountant by trade, and I've been in the financial industry helping my community to become financially stable for the last 15 years and serving the Atlanta metro area since 2016. With working in different aspects and on all levels of government, I currently also serve on the East Blocks Committee for DeKalb County School District. I'm happy to be here today to show the community that I can be the change that the city of Brookhaven needs.
Thank you so much. And I believe we've introduced all of our candidates, and we're going to go into the first round of questioning, which will be, and I will start now again with our first person, which is Mr. John Park. It will be this question: relating to social justice, race, and equity, how do you feel the city is doing in its efforts to address issues, and what will be your top priorities for improvement?
So, thank you. So my top priorities will be to do it in the same way that we made our sustainability initiative a part of everything we do. We're making the monumental work of our Social Justice, Race, and Equity Commission a priority for every personnel, policy, project, and program. We included recommendations in our charter. We stepped up our zoning engagement efforts, and we've increased our Spanish language communications and programs like our website, annual report, and Police Academy in Spanish. We're working through implementing these recommendations from the report compiled by our Social Justice, Race, and Equity Commission. I encourage you to read through the report. You can find it on our city's website at brookhavenga.gov. Thank you.
Thank you. And I will have the same question for Mr. Mark. If you can answer the same question, relating to social justice, race, and equity, how do you feel the city is doing in its efforts to address issues, and what would be your top priorities for improvement?
Okay, I've got my timer on now, so I don't ramble on. To answer that question, I have to reflect back on how I grew up. I was the son of an immigrant. We were very poor, and diversity and inclusion was just how we grew up. So it was common sense to us. And I think that's quite different to what is nowadays referred to as social justice, race, and equity, which to me are just code words for socialism, and I don't abide by socialism. I think socialism is unsustainable economically, morally, and spiritually, and socialism is run by the least talented of us. It denies human nature and is only installed with great violence. as we can see now that with alarming frequency, adherents attempt to destroy people who don't believe as they do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I will read the response from Ms. Lauren, who is the third candidate. And her response is, as I'm reading it, in Brookhaven, we have made some good progress around social justice, race, and equity, like the formation of the Social Justice, Race, and Equity Commission and hosting equitable dinners. However, there's much more to do. My priority to bring back the social justice, race, and equity as a permanent body, not just a temporary commission convened to draft a report. We need to do ongoing expertise and recommendations embedded in Brookhaven, policies and actions, because the work of creating a more just and equitable is ongoing. Additionally, language inclusivity is a must. With the rich diversity we have, the city's websites, Brookhaven Blast, and official communications should all be multilingual. We can also deepen our partnerships with organizations such as the Latin American Association and the Mexican Consulate for Community Outreach. And our last candidate is Ms. Hilary Lind. The same question is relating to social justice, race, and equity. How do you feel the city is doing in its efforts to address issues, and what would be your top priorities for improvement?
First, I would like to applaud the very diverse commission and its true representation of the constituency of Brookhaven. It is long overdue for proper representation, but one thing that does stand out to me is the lack of educators on the commission, as teachers directly engage with a diverse population and understand how to engage and teach those theories. My top priorities are to implement more initiatives geared toward overhauling a system that's taken centuries to thread racism into the fabric of each city in this country. Presently, there is no firm action plan. While with the CDC, I deployed multiple times on the COVID-19 vaccine to lead state and federal task forces to resolve issues during the most significant public health crisis of our time by developing briefings for Operation Warp Speed leadership to keep the White House aware of current vaccination efforts and risk mitigation measures. I also provided data to assist in the development of the state of Georgia State and Community Health Improvement Plan. As racism has been deemed a public health crisis, it is extremely necessary to partner with the state and federal public health agencies to actually develop a plan that supports the community in overcoming thousands of years.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lind. I appreciate that answer. And we're going to go to our second question, and I will read it, and it will be,
I apologize. I apologize. I believe we have some council candidates on
I'm sorry.
as well. So I want to make sure that we are opening it up to all of our candidates.
You are correct. I apologize for that. Yes, so I will start over. I apologize for that. Yes, we will go to Ms. Lindley Jones, who is an incumbent, and I apologize for that. Start with the same question for diversity, equity, inclusion. It is.
And also introduce.
Do we get to do our introductions
well.
too?
Yes, please feel free to introduce yourselves as well before answering.
Absolutely. So we have our next candidate, who will be Ms. Lindley Jones. She is an incumbent for District 1 of Brookhaven Council.
Thank you, Ms. Miles. Yes, I'm Lindley Jones, and I currently represent District 1. And back when I was co-founding the city of Brookhaven, we made some promises, and we promised we would do a better job of police, parks, paving, permitting, and zoning. And we have followed through on those promises, and we've done so in a fiscally responsible way. We have a tremendous police department. Virtually everyone agrees with that. We've had the chief of the year. We have cutting edge technology for our officers. We have drones as first responders, electric police cars, live 911, on and on. With regard to parks, we passed a $40 million park bond. We're almost done with all of the parks, and we're within shooting distance of it, and we're within budget and potentially under budget on all of that. And we have wonderful parks. We've reworked every major intersection in District 1 along Ashford Dunwoody Road, with one exception that's about to roll out. And we are currently repaving, doing a full depth reclamation of the entirety of Johnson Ferry Road. So we have followed through on everything that I believed the city would do when I helped create the city. And I want to make sure that we get more of a good thing, that we continue these values that we've established in our first 10 years, that we continue to do more good work, listen to the citizens, and act on our values and the messages that are sent to us by our citizens. So
thank you so much, Ms. Jones. I appreciate you giving your opening statement.
Thank you. I'm sorry if I spoke too long, but I should make you aware that I can't see the stop sign and the.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. I will make sure to do a better job with that. Thank you so much. And our next council representative is from District 1, Mr. Alan M. Cole. And you are welcome to give your opening statement as well. Okay, so that candidate is not available. We also have Council Representative District 1, Michael Diaz as well. And we also have Council Representative District 2, Mr. Blake Byer. Would you like to give your opening statement, sir?
Would. Hello, my name is. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. I say hello. My name is Blake Byer, and I'm running for Brookhaven City Council District 2. I grew up all over the world as the son of a career Army officer, and I later served 7 years myself as a Black Hawk pilot in the Georgia Army National Guard. As a civilian, I've spent the past 2 decades helping Atlanta corporations achieve their growth and transformational goals as a management consultant, and I have 2 companies that call Brookhaven home. My wife and I have lived here since 2007, before Brookhaven was a city, and have built our forever home with the intention of giving our kids what I never had, lifelong friends. Our 3 kids were born in that house, and they all attend public school like we did. We have seen a lot of changes over the years, but I can't think of a better place to live and thrive. As I've served my country, our country, I look forward to serving our community in this new capacity. Brookhaven is a great city, but there's always room for improvement. My top priorities are bringing greater transparency to City Hall, ensuring that we are running our city government on strong fiscal responsibility and balancing our budget, refocusing on our citizens as job one, regardless of address, and focusing on the nuts and bolts of delivering the best government our citizens pay for.
Thank you so much, Mr. Byer. We appreciate you giving your opening statement. And our next candidate is Council Representative District 2, Jen Owens. Thank you so much. And Ms. Owens, I can't hear you. If you can be able to unmute yourself.
Thank you, DeKalb Democrats and those in attendance, as well as the other candidates seeking to serve. I'm Jennifer Owens, and I am running to stay on the Brookhaven City Council to represent District 2. I was appointed to fill the seat when John Park resigned to run for mayor. And while I'm a first-time candidate, I am no stranger to Georgia, to Brookhaven, the policy, or the community landscape. My entire career has been dedicated to endeavors focused on making Georgia healthier, cleaner, and our governments more efficient. I've worked for environmental nonprofits, public-private partnerships such as the Clean Air Campaign, Georgia Organics, to running the nonpartisan State League of Women Voters, focused on increasing civic participation and ethics in our democratic processes and institutions. I've also tackled state-level budget issues at the Georgia Budget and Policy Institute. I'm currently president and CEO of a 24-year-old organization called Health Empowers, which was founded by the brother of late Senator Johnny Isakson, Andy Isakson, where we focus on children's health, specifically physical activity and good nutrition. In that role, I oversee a multi-million-dollar budget and a staff of nearly 50. I'm a mom of 2 fierce girls, both coming up through the DeKalb County public school system. And I've lived in my house in the district since 2005, committed to working with my neighbors to make our community a great place to live through formal and informal volunteer work.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, candidate Owens. Awesome.
And our last candidate we have is the Council Representative for District 3, Ms. Madeline Noreen Simmons. Thank you, and we would love to have your opening statement. Thank you so much. And we're going to start again with the council representatives for question 1, which is, we'll start with Ms. Lindley Jones, District 1, relating to social justice, race, and equity. How do you feel the city is doing in its efforts to address issues, and what would be your top priorities for improvement?
Well, look, we're going to continue to work hard on issues surrounding social justice, race, and equity. The efforts have to continue. Personally, I authored the Linwood Recognition Ordinance, and I have personally worked hard and made it a very specific mission to recognize and preserve the history of historic Linwood, which of course is located in District 1. And I believe that our first step in our future is recognizing our history and honoring that history. And so the Linwood Recognition Ordinance has made a big impact in our part of town. And of course, citywide, we have the Social Justice, Race, and Equity Commission outcome that actually did produce some goals for the city that we continue to work to implement. And so the work will be ongoing, and not just in the short run. This is work that will be ongoing in our community and in our nation for a very long time. But I think an important piece of that is the work of the Brookhaven Police Department in ensuring that the citizens of Brookhaven, all citizens of Brookhaven, have trust and faith in our police department. And I believe we have an outstanding record in that regard. And so continuing the good work and continuing to look for opportunities in that arena is what I recommend.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jones. And I will also give this question to Mr. Blake Byer. Relating to social justice, race, and equity, how do you feel that the city is doing in its efforts to address issues, and what would be your top priorities for improvement?
I'm very proud of the work that the city of Brookhaven has done to improve inclusiveness and acceptance for all its residents. As you know, Brookhaven is a member of Welcoming America, which is a nonprofit and nonpartisan national organization that helps build plans and policies around inclusiveness and sustainability. Despite our success, I know there's always more work to be done. As your city councilman, I'm committed to making sure that every citizen and visitor of Brookhaven is treated with dignity and respect. One area I believe we need to improve is affordability. We need to retain and improve our affordable housing options so that our workforce can have work-life balance and we can maintain our diversity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Breyer. And last but not least, we will have Council Representative District 2, Jen Owens. Relating to social justice, race, and equity, how do you feel that the city is doing in its efforts to address issues, and what would be your top priorities for improvement?
The commissioning of the Social, Race, Justice, and Equity Commission here in Brookhaven was a huge first step and an exciting one. I'm heartened that the city has continued that work, and we have a commitment to the recommendations in that report. I chaired our city charter commission, and in that role, we looked extensively at the report's recommendations to see where we could further embed those in the actual governing document for the city of Brookhaven. This is important because it shows a real commitment that equity is not a side project, but instead embedded in the DNA of our city. A great example was our commission recommendation to include language in the actual preamble of our city charter, naming our value and striving to be an equitable and welcoming city. As a result, Brookhaven is one of the fewest cities in the state with a charter that asserts our commitment in its actual governing document. I'm looking forward to moving forward a lot of the other recommendations that came out of that commission's work, and want to thank those who were engaged in that capacity as a volunteer for serving, and make a guarantee that your work is not for naught. And I look forward to moving forward with some of the recommendations.
Thank you so much. And we're going to go to our second question. We're going to start again with our mayoral candidates for Brookhaven Mayor. We will begin with Mr. Mark. And Mr. Mark, our question is, what changes, if any, should the city of Brookhaven consider in recruitment, hiring, retention, and firing?
Yeah, mute there. Okay.
And you have 60 seconds as well.
Right. I've got my timer here. Yes, in my last job, I was entrusted with $90 million to generate about $250 million of revenue with 300 employees. And my hiring practices during that whole tenure was hold on one second, was meritocracy. And that's solely what I'll be basing it on if I become mayor. The best person for the job, the people who work the hardest. And if you do a little research and see where I worked, I mean, I was told that the workplace that I ran was like the United Nations. Again, that's how I grew up. And I think meritocracy is what made this country great, and anything less, including cronyism and nepotism, only produces less quality. It is not fair to those who are willing to work the hardest. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'd like to repeat this question again for our next candidate, which would be Ms. Lauren. Again, the question is, what changes, if any, should the city of Brookhaven consider in recruitment, hiring, retention, and firing? Ms. Lauren, are you there?
She submitted written responses, I believe.
Oh, that's right. She has a written response. That's correct. I will read that for you. 1 second. We need to do a better job of vetting our candidates for their interests and their qualifications. The recent hiring and loss of our events planner, and then the issues surrounding the short-lived Parks and Rec director, indicate that there's more work needed. In Brookhaven, we need to assess and strengthen our recruitment and hiring protocols. A background check is a starting point, not the end. The city has had issues with staff turnover, and most recently, the city parks director was arrested for attempting to solicit a minor after only a few months on the job. Particularly when we are talking about positions that come into contact with our children, we need to, at a minimum, check applicants' references. When it comes to retention, it's evident that some of our city staff are overworked and some departments are understaffed. My priority is to improve working, living, and commuting conditions for our city employees, including competitive pay and training programs. And by prioritizing more workforce housing so our employees can actually live in the city they work hard for and have the support that they need to serve our community effectively. We don't want to lose good people to burnout. It also makes no sense. We're building a city hall that will house all staff, and some staff will be regulated to a $6 million and it's on Buford Highway. Particularly for our Brookhaven Police Department, we're a target for poaching other cities because of the exceptional quality of our officers. To retain them, we need to continue to offer the best in terms, benefits, training, and compensation. We can't afford to cut corners here. Thank you, and this is the answer for Ms. Lauren. Our next candidate would be Ms. Jen Owens, and that question remains, what changes, if any, should the city of Brookhaven consider in recruitment, hiring, retention, and firing?
And always wants to be a leader, certainly. And our staff right now certainly work very hard and are first rate. I also think about this question in terms of wanting our staff to reflect the communities that they serve. This is the case in how I run my business, the community organizations with whom I volunteer, and the city is no exception. I think Brookhaven has done a good job. Improvements are certainly needed, and I look forward to diving into this more as an appointed member of council right now, as well as if I'm elected in November.
Thank you again, Ms. Jen. And we're going to ask the same question to Ms. Hillary Lind. What changes, if any, should the city of Brookhaven consider in retention, recruitment, hiring, and firing?
Sorry. Having experience with the U.S. Department of Labor and an organization that's dedicated to enhancing the welfare of wage earners and job seekers to safeguard work-related benefits and rights, it becomes crucial to ensure transparency in these policies. If these policies are already established, they seem to lack public accessibility with Brookhaven's website, which is vital for holding the city accountable. With an MBA in human resources, I know the importance of safeguarding the employees and establishing government structures accessible to the public. The process process of vetting and appointing city employees requires significant enhancements. Its significance is notable due to the most recent director of Parks and Recreation being arrested for enticing a child in obscene internet contact with the child and traveling to another city in a city-owned vehicle to meet that child. The current mayor and the city manager having also been ordered to pay punitive damages of $200,000, which also resulted in the city being responsible to pay $6.7 million. These roles are appointed by the mayor and confirmed by city council. With better checks and balances, this will prevent similar issues in recruitment and hiring processes. If the city manager is partly responsible for these damages, what are the repercussions to that? Which means that there should be a review of the city's retention and hiring processes. Creating a commission that focuses on efforts and on equitable recruitment, hiring, retention, and firing procedures provide essential services that include recruitment, retention, firing, staffing, risk management, and retirement.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lynn. And I also want to ask this question to our other mayoral candidate, Mr. John Park. What changes, if any, should the city of Brookhaven consider in recruitment, hiring, retention, and firing?
So municipal employers are struggling along with everyone else in the country to hire and retain talent. However, Brookhaven is one of the few cities without a police recruitment shortage. But more importantly, we focus on retention and providing an environment that employees do not want to leave. We increased our stipend for police officers to live in Brookhaven so that we can have 24-hour coverage. For example, a few Christmases ago, an officer on his way home caught a porch pirate stealing Christmas. We were the first to increase police salaries by 20%, and we will need to increase police salaries again to be competitive. We provide great facilities, which we've done with the new public safety building. It's on the Peachtree Creek Greenway, open to the public, and it's a facility also for the path. And it has awesome workout facilities for police and employees alike to help our employees be healthier and happier on the job. We're going to continue to focus on training and provide excellent benefits. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we'll ask this question to our council representative, District 1, Ms. Lindley Jones. What changes, if any, should the city of Brookhaven consider in recruitment, hiring, retention, and firing?
Look, the city of Brookhaven has some outstanding employees, and I don't want anything I'm about to say to take away from that. In fact, we have some award-winning employees, entire award-winning departments like our finance department, our police department, our city manager, and so forth. But I think that what we have recently learned is that one thing we can do is apply the same standards for police hiring with regard to personality and psychological testing that we apply to employees who are hired for other sensitive community positions or positions working with children. So that is one change that I would like to see made.
Thank you so much. And we have finished the second question. We're going to go to our.
I didn't get a chance to go.
I'm sorry, Mr. Blake. Yes.
Thank you.
I apologize. Mr. Blake Fire,
I believe
District 2 Council Representative. And I'll read the question again. What changes, if any, should the city of Brookhaven consider in recruitment, hiring, retention, and firing?
I believe our process of hiring should be reevaluated to ensure it includes a rigorous background check that includes a social media and web search for any red flags at a minimum. Attracting qualified candidates is always a challenge, especially since COVID, but Brookhaven is an attractive place to work and live. We should help employees with incentives to live in Brookhaven, allowing employees to become more vested in the community that they serve. Retention of key employees is always important, and I believe Brookhaven could use some work here. I've helped large corporations with this in the past and can certainly help Brookhaven in the future. Paying competitive wages with a healthy work environment that provides opportunity for earned advancement goes a long way towards job satisfaction and recruiting qualified candidates for employment. Firing is always difficult, but it should always be handled in the most transparent and fair manner. The process should protect the city from litigation and unjust firings, and it should come as no surprise to that employee. Thank you.
Thank you again, Mr. Breyer, and I apologize for the inconvenience and not having the right order. I'm going to make sure we get to the third question, which we will start with the mayoral candidates for Brookhaven, which will be Ms. Lauren Kiefer. I will read her written response. The question is, Brookhaven recently orchestrated a large annexation effort. What is your view of this effort and what overall strategy and process would be best for the future annexation efforts? Follow-up questions can ask about the erroneous data that were used in determining the composition of the area that was involved in the proposed annexation and the impact on the credibility of the petition process. And I will read her answer. Ms. Lauren says, I'm deeply concerned about the recent annexation efforts, especially when it comes to transparency and due process. The residents of Brookhaven weren't sufficiently informed or consulted, and that is simply unacceptable. The secretive approach has not only cost us hundreds of thousands in taxpayer dollars, but has also damaged our city's reputation. Mistakes were made. The calculations determining the annexed area were incorrect, and even if all the signatures had been valid, which they weren't. The 60% threshold was not met, and the proposed maps also created unincorporated islands. These lapses occurred in a process that were carried out behind closed doors without public input. As mayor, my approach would be different. I will use true transparency and involving the DeKalb County city leaders and most importantly, you, the community, in any future annexation. So this was the answer from Ms. Lauren. My next candidate, it would be Ms. Hillary. Brookhaven recently orchestrated a large annexation effort. What is your view of this effort and what overall strategy and process would be best for the future annexation efforts?
I believe that this was a money-focused effort in an attempt to defraud the public in secret. City leadership failed to inform the public, just as they had purposely obstructed the progress of the redevelopment project along Beaufort Highway, costing the city almost $7 million. The city will advance the money for those projects, which says roads, stormwater infrastructure, and parks over about a year and reports the cost of improvements. Though the city is promising that it will bring in the money, that won't happen until the city pays out possibly millions in assessments and repairs, money that could be used to provide for better resources to the citizens that are already in the city. It's a purposeful attempt at intentionally trying to displace certain families along the Beaufort Highway corridor. Instead of annexation, focus should be placed on allocating city funding to create programs designed to prevent eviction, homelessness, and assist families in financial management. Instead of this, focus should be placed on a proper development of the community and resources to stabilize and sustain the city. An overall strategy for future annexations would be to incorporate the public's view and ideas of proposed annexation, proposing an opportunity for the citizens to support the idea through voting. The credibility behind the entire effort is non-existent. No one can say with 100% certainty who actually proposed the effort, as individuals that have been canvassing for the idea could not even say who was behind it. And that was also a hidden rezoning effort, which we know this tends to affect lower income residents. Rezoning raises the cost of housing.
Thank you so much, candidate Lynn. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hillary. Our next question will be for candidate Mr. John Park. It's the same question. Brookhaven recently orchestrated a large annexation effort. What is your view of this effort and what overall strategy and process will be best for the future annexation efforts?
Well, first of all, I'm going to focus on the facts. The fact is, people want to annex into Brookhaven because of the service that we provide. They ask to come into Brookhaven, and specifically for services like remanipulation response times and paving. Let me give you some background. In my very first council meeting 9 years ago, Children's Healthcare and Executive Park petitioned to annex into Brookhaven. I opposed this, as well as the attempt to annex Century Center. Although I was a lone opponent, I was able to change city policy that the city would facilitate residents in the surrounding areas to annex, since they are the most affected by the annexation and not just be a commercial tax land grab. Since then, we've had 7 annexation applications, and each time Brookhaven has to expend substantial resources. We have to redraw police beats. We have to improve subpar infrastructure, et cetera. And it has become problematic. This is why Brookhaven is assisting in efforts, as it would make sense to have a logical and fair service delivery area with Claremont to the east and City of Atlanta to the south, and no more. And the way to make this make sense is to have a referendum, which we've called on DeKalb to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Park. Next, we will have Mr. Mark Frost.
Hey, I'm unmuted. Right, I was at that Toco Hill hearing. It was embarrassing. It was a disaster. I was sitting there just, how do these things happen? And if I'm elected mayor, all annexation efforts will cease. And one of the possibilities is that perhaps what we can do is just, since we're Brookhaven and we're better than that, we can up the threshold from 60% to 75% and make sure that everyone really wants this. Now, it's been theorized that part of the reason why it was so aggressive is that we've made so many commitments financially that we're going to need that money to pay the bills. So the whole thing just didn't smell right. And I'm for stopping all annexation efforts until we get things sorted out. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we'll have our response from Council Representative, Ms. Lindley Jones.
Thank you. I appreciate it. The city of Brookhaven's heart was in the right place in this effort. It really was. We're a welcoming city, and we believed that we were helping people who wanted in go out there and get these signatures. Obviously, it was botched, indefensibly botched. So we took a step back and we did what we should have done. And what we did when we fought for cityhood to begin with, and we said, let's just put it to a vote of the people. Let's make this simple. Let the people vote. And that, I believe, is the right solution for this particular situation. But if the people step forward with enough signatures, otherwise, I think we should welcome in new people who want in the great city of Brookhaven if it doesn't negatively affect the people who already live in the city of Brookhaven. And so for me, that's my standard. If our citizens are unaffected in a negative way by welcoming other people into the city, then I would say, let's do that.
Thank you so much for your response. And we will have Council Representative, District 2, Mr. Blake Beyer.
I love the fact that people want to come to Brookhaven. I don't believe the 60% method for annexation is a fair or transparent method for annexing new areas. Any method that does not allow prospective new residents to vote on their neighborhood's fate isn't a good way to create this new relationship with our city. I don't believe the city should have spent considerable city funds to hire a firm to collect signatures either, as this presents potential conflicts of interest and it's not a good look. Allegations of forged signatures and other irregularities really makes us look bad. We should be setting a better example for them to want to join us. Any annexation should be driven by the new residents with maximum transparency around who is organizing it, and it should have broad support before Brookhaven even considers the proposal. Brookhaven should not be in the driver's seat. It should be well communicated with several public opportunities for residents of those neighborhoods to voice their opinions, and then they should all be able to vote for their futures without any concerns about accountability, transparency, or conflicts of interest. Thank you.
Last but not least, we will have the same response from Ms. Jen Owens, Council Representative, District 2.
This is a very important issue facing our city as well as all of the neighbors that surround us. There are 5 types of annexation methods and processes that are dictated by state law, and state law spells out the processes for each of these methods, which Brookhaven and the petitioners have followed. The most recent annexation effort, known as the 60% that most of the other speakers have referred, means that 60% of electors in a contiguous area come to the council and request to join the city. I have heard DeKalb neighbors speak up about seeking to be part of our first-class city, again, highlighting our safety, our parks, our world-class services, and having lower taxes on these same services than DeKalb County. I see my job as a member of council to evaluate the annexation applications, keeping in mind the resource strain and any community character changes. Moving forward, continuing to ensure we follow state law and engage all parties is going to be my approach.
Thank you so much, Councilman. And we will go to our 4th question, which will be, for the future, what do you see as the role of the mayor, city council regarding annexation planning? And we will start with Ms. Hillary.
For the future, the mayor and city council should act as a liaison between the citizens of Brookhaven and the residents of the proposed area. Though all needs won't be met by all residents, the best thing you can do as a leader is to serve the public that voted you in to that you were voted in to support. A part of being a servant leader would be to allow the constituents to be a part of the process. The next step will be to creating a committee that would work directly with the public to determine the areas to annex and the potential benefits and risks that come with that, the cost and the timeline before the city of Brookhaven would actually reap the benefits from the process.
Thank you so much. And we'll have the same question for Mr. John Park.
My answer is straightforward. I think the best way forward is to support a referendum. We've called on DeKalb County to have a referendum for a logical service delivery area. But if there can't be a referendum, we're going to provide support, logistical support, like maps and such, to the residents to petition who want better services, and provide it in a logical and fair service delivery area.
Thank you. Next, we will have a response from Mr. Mark Frost.
Thank you. Yes, I believe a referendum is what we need to have happen, but not after you get caught not doing it. But this is more of a continuation from the last question. For me, it's I was told that what we're supposed to do as mayor and council is be the voice of the people who don't have a voice, and we're supposed to do their will. And that's really, it's that simple for me. That's what's going to happen. That's what needs to happen. That's the right thing to happen. And that's what the mayor and council needs to steward and to bring about. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Frost. I will read the response from Ms. Lauren Kiefer. The role of the mayor and city council in annexation planning should be one of utmost transparency, collaboration, and due diligence. It is deeply concerning that decisions about our city's future are being made without any, let alone adequate community engagement, and without proper evaluating whether annexation is in the best interest of Brookhaven's future. This lack of transparency has not only incurred unnecessary costs, but has also eroded the trust between the city government and its citizens, as well as the prospective citizens of any future annexation. As your mayor, my approach will be rooted in listening and inclusive decision-making. I will collaborate with DeKalb County and city leaders, but most importantly, I will ensure that Brookhaven residents have a seat at the table in all annexation discussions. Before diving into decisions like whether or not annexation is the right move, we first need to gauge if our residents even want to focus on it. This is the people's seat, and it's not about what I want. It is about what best serves the interest in the Brookhaven community. We need to rebuild that trust, and it starts with inducing everyone in the conversation. Next, our response will be with Ms. Lindley Jones.
Thank you. Well, as in all things, the city of Brookhaven should be responsive to the people. We've designated the city of Brookhaven as a welcoming city. We can't be a welcoming city and close our borders and say no more annexations. I think what we can do is put it to a referendum, allow people to choose if they'd like to be in the city of Brookhaven, if it doesn't cause any negative impacts in the city of Brookhaven. And just for information, when we annex in a new area, if their infrastructure is not up to snuff, they have a bit of extra tax for a little while until it gets up to our standards, so that there's no burden on the citizens of Brookhaven for a newly annexed area to come in. And that's why it's worked. And even with that, they wind up not paying as much tax as they paid in unincorporated DeKalb. So it's a win-win for everybody when the community chooses that. And we'll know that if we have a referendum.
Thank you again. We'd like to present this question to our next person, which is Council Representative District 2, Mr. Blake Byer.
I believe we should be cheerleaders for anyone who sees our city as a future home for them. I don't think we should be driving any annexation efforts. We should be there to accept and evaluate any proposals from neighbors who wish to explore the option, and then we should explain very clearly what the process is for annexation. We should have an unambiguous process that requires an initial petition, a series of well-communicated public meetings to allow residents to voice their opinion, including current Brookhaven residents, and a referendum that allows the residents to vote on whether they want to become part of Brookhaven. It should be straightforward and transparent with maximum buy-in. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, we have Council Representative District 2, Ms. Jen Owens.
Thank you. I too support putting a referendum on the ballot regarding this current annexation. Something I want to look more into over the next few months on council is the city's policy on resources provided to help petitioners, which I need to spend more time evaluating and discussing with experts, the city attorney, and also residents. I will say I agree with the existing council policies that have been spoken about that deal with cost and community character concerns, such as the existence of the annexation district currently with La Vista Park, which is a recently annexed portion of the city. The folks there pay a higher tax rate, lower than their previous DeKalb rate, for a certain number of years to provide more resources to shore up the services in those neighborhoods, such as paving and park upgrades. This is a win-win, which has been said before, that newly annexed communities get to have their issues addressed promptly and responsively, and existing residents do not have to pay for those improvements.
Thank you again. And we will move to the next round of questioning. What changes are needed in order to make the Brookhaven Police best able to serve and protect all citizens from many diverse backgrounds? And we will start with Mr. John Park.
Thank you. You know, unlike some other cities, Brookhaven Police know for a fact that the council supports them and always provides them with the necessary resources. With that, our police department is always striving to be an example. Our police demographics match roughly the demographics breakdown of the city. We have our Static Police Academy program. We were one of the first cities in Georgia to have mental health responders with this police department. I will continue to foster an environment of innovation and creativity. Even before the national spotlight, we are proactive in proper training for our police and provided innovative resources such as mental health professionals, license plate readers, which reduce racial profiling. Policing is a challenging profession, and recruiting quality officers is always difficult. To that end, we gave our officers a 20% raise. We were one of the first cities to do that. We'll continue to attract the best with incentives such as retention bonuses, increased housing allowances to live in Brookhaven, and new community policing initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you again, candidate Park. We will go to our next candidate, which will be Mr. Mark Frost.
Hey, it's me again. Yeah, I have to hand it to the current administration. I think they've done a great job with the police department. I had the honor of watching the North Metro SWAT in action practicing on Reading a couple of weeks ago. And I think they're doing a good job as it is. So I don't have anything additional to do. The only thing that was brought to my attention is that I was told that there's an extraordinary high rate of turnover. So I don't know why that is. If we're paying them so much, why are we turning them over so much? So that would be the first thing I would get to the bottom of. Thank you.
Thank you again, candidate Frost. And I will read the response from Ms. Lauren. I participated in Brookhaven Citizens Police Academy, and I learned that our police department is doing significant work to ensure that they are serving all residents. We have multilingual officers, and our police officers also actively seek additional certifications and training because they understand the need to continue and innovate in our approach to public safety. That said, there's always room for improvement. As mayor, I will work closely with our city manager who oversees the police department to identify areas that we may be falling short, particularly in language skills and cultural competency. Our police are our priority. We cannot afford to be complacent. And if we do so, in fact, have areas to improve, we can act swiftly, putting it on the next available agenda for discussion. Our next candidate would be Ms. Hillary Lind. Thank you so much. Sorry.
The first steps is looking at what the expenditures are for the $13 million budget. With some of this, creating programs and initiatives that will better serve the community, such as expanding the community policing programs, a mentorship program that partners with department officers with youth within the community, and an officer-led program that is designed to educate citizens on Brookhaven ordinances on a quarterly basis. Those citizens are responsible for their knowledge of the law. A true leader will be willing to partner with the community to ensure that there is awareness of the laws. Expanding the existing community policing program and mentorship program would not only prevent potential crimes, but also allows officers to become familiar with the community and allow the community to trust them, especially in communities that are more diverse and less likely to trust the police. Implementing this type of program could be done in the first 100 days, but actually seeing results could take longer. Just like any other relationship, trust develops over time. In order to see success in the relationship between police and the community, the relationship will have to naturally evolve in order to see true sustainable success.
Thank you again. And our next candidate will be District 1, Ms. Lindley Jones.
Thank you. Well, we're lucky in Brookhaven. We have a police department that's been established in the modern era, so it didn't have those bad practices handed down through decades. We're only 10 years old, and I think our Brookhaven Police Department is doing a great job. It's just written into our city's DNA. We have diverse hiring. We have a Spanish language police academy. We have Spanish language publications related to policing and otherwise, but we can always do better, and we will continue to listen and continue to evolve. And one thing that I think we can do is to always have a Spanish interpreter, because of our significant Spanish speaking population, present at the public safety building to meet the needs of anyone entering the public safety building who is Spanish speaking.
Thank you, candidate Jones. Our next candidate will be District 2 Council Representative, Mr. Blake Byer.
Our police force is a very diverse workforce, and they police a very diverse city with some unique challenges regarding homelessness and low-income housing. We have a mental health co-responder program, and a force runs outreach programs such as the Citizens Police Academy, Citizens on Patrol, and the Police Cadet program. Brookhaven has also worked to ensure our police force is equipped with the best support and knowledge to meet the challenges that they face. The lack of our police making the news says a lot about their training, preparation, and professionalism. I then asked for a ride along and a meeting with the chief to better understand their challenges and opportunities for improvement. I would like to explore greater outreach to the Latino community. We can partner with the Latin American Association to sponsor events that bring the Latino community together with our police force to generate goodwill. We could also offer complimentary Spanish lessons for our police officers and city employees to increase our ability to communicate. Connecting the police to our local schools is another opportunity to increase goodwill and trust. Sitting down with the chief of police to discuss some of these ideas would be a good first step to understanding their capacity and willingness to participate. I believe the police force is the finest part of our city, and as someone who has served in uniform, I intend to work with and support them to the best of my ability.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And we will go to our next candidate, which will be Ms. Jen.
Thank you. We have the fastest police response time in DeKalb County, and I am very proud of that about our city. Our public safety force is top notch, and 4 years ago, we led in terms of police pay. In this current moment, we're no longer in that position as top of the pack, and this is something that I and council are currently looking closely at. And it's not just talk when we say we value our public safety staff. Just this week, we welcomed them into a brand new public safety facility. We've raised police pay year over year, and this is something I support as your councilwoman. Lastly, I'm very passionate about and support Brookhaven's efforts around community policing and developing relationships with communities so that we deploy a force that's seen as a community asset and not always one that comes with risk and fear. And there is a lot of activity being championed by our current police force at the direction of our police chief and council. And I look forward to supporting that work and making sure that it continues.
Thank you so much, candidate. We're going to go to our last questioning, and I'm going to read it. What are your thoughts on how Brookhaven can make more affordable housing available? And we will start this time with candidate Mark Frost.
Yes, in terms of affordable housing, one of the things I have to admit is that I really have not done my homework yet. My mother said I was smart and I'm quick to learn, but I really don't know. The only thing that I could contribute to that is I've been told that something about some of the buildings are limited to 5 stories, so it's hard for the builders or the people who own them to make it pencil out. But other than that, I don't at this point I don't have a good idea, but it is definitely something important and something I'll address.
Thank you so much, candidate Frost. We're
Thank
also going to go to the next candidate, which is Ms. Lauren, and the question previously that we just stated about affordable housing. And I'll read her response. It is, affordable housing is a complex issue for Brookhaven, especially given our limited available land for new development. However, the status quo is clearly not working. While our current regulations like ADU, zoning, and mandatory affordable units in new multifamily developments are steps in the right direction, we need to do more. First, we should leverage the expertise within our community, collaborating with NGOs, developers, and affordable housing experts to explore all viable solutions. Second, we can partner with DeKalb County's land bank to strategically acquire any remaining vacant plots for affordable housing development. Lastly, establishing a housing trust fund could provide us with additional resources to build and maintain affordable housing in perpetuity. And we will pass this question to Ms. Hillary. Candidate Hillary.
Affordable housing efforts are non-existent in the city. Resources are non-existent in the city, and it's been like that. Even when the COVID-19 pandemic happened, those resources didn't exist. And even today, those resources continue not to exist. And citizens are left to depend on other cities and counties or face homelessness because those resources do not exist. Join together with other mayors to be able to partner with the state to change laws that support a moratorium on rental increases would greatly help and impact many of the citizens in the city. Also, partnering together with different companies to create income-based housing within each apartment complex will be a great help as well.
Thank you so much. And we're going to ask the same question to Council Representative District 1, Ms. Lindley Jones.
There's no question, it's a big concern. I actually created the Affordable Housing Task Force comprised of concerned citizens and clergy. And that task force worked hard for many months to create a list of recommendations that we have worked to implement, including a requirement for new development that there be a minimum amount of affordable housing within that development. Today, you can see that. You can see it on North Druid Hills Road. You can see it in a couple of other locations. And as you see more and more residential development, you will see that requirement being implemented. I'm not saying it's enough. It's not. We need more solutions, better solutions. I don't think the solutions are high rises and increases in building heights and all of that. I think the solutions are difficult, but involve requiring developers to set aside a certain portion, as they currently do and are currently required to do, for affordable housing. It's a tough issue nationwide. It's a tough issue here in Brookhaven, but I want to continue to tackle it. It's a priority.
Thank you so much, Candidate Jones. Our next person is Representative District 2, Blake Fire.
So Brookhaven, in this instance, is a victim of its own success, which has driven up property values. That said, aggressive code enforcement instead of a collaborative approach with apartment complexes to bring those properties up to code while keeping costs down is important. We should also probably stop raising taxes on these businesses as well. The business tax increase to fund our city hall raised taxes on these complexes, which will get passed along as higher rent. That's going to drive more people further out. Zoning is also another issue. Higher property costs will necessitate higher density. And so we're going to have to look at some of the current codes and reevaluate what we can do to keep these people in our neighborhoods and save our diversity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we have our response from Council Representative Jen Owens.
Thank you. As a former member of the Brookhaven Affordable Housing Task Force, I've personally rolled up my sleeves to put action words to make Brookhaven a place where everyone can afford to be a part of our community. As an example, our beloved teachers and police officers should have the option to live in the community they serve. Yes, this is a nationwide problem, and of course it is top of mind, and there is always work to do, but we took a major first step as a city a few years ago with the requirement for affordable units, and that needs to continue. For example, Brookhaven was one of the first cities to have a 10% affordability requirement for any upzoning requests across the entire city. In comparison, the city of Atlanta has done that, but only in certain areas, such as along the Beltline. And this work, again, a citywide approach needs to continue. In the future, there are a lot of creative options looking at public-private partnerships, zoning, land bank, nonprofit, as well as other financing means to help us plan differently to make existing housing more affordable, safe through needed updates, as well as look at the opportunity to increase the number of affordable units across our city. I have extensive experience in housing policy, both at a state and a local level. And again, I have rolled up my sleeves to put words into action. And this is a commitment that I continue as your councilwoman. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Jennifer. We're going to go into our closing statements, and we're going to start with candidate John Park.
Could I go ahead and answer that last question as well?
I apologize. Yes, sir.
So I would like to say that during the COVID response, we implemented programs for rental assistance to avoid eviction and wiped out apartment debt for many residents in Brookhaven. The fact is the market has to solve this, and the way you do that with more density where it fits. For example, along Buford Highway. In fact, we actually turned down a rezoning request because they just wanted to put another cookie cutter 4-story building, and we need more density on Buford Highway for the future needs of children's healthcare and Executive Park. As mentioned, we've already implemented the 10% affordability component for new multifamily developments. And I'm willing to look at every tool in the box, whether it be tax abatements for affordable housing, encouraging developers to do innovative solutions such as quads or anything like that. So that is my answer to that question. And could I go ahead and lead into my
yes, I was going to ask if you can give your closing statements, and I apologize for that.
Sure. I just want to thank all of you, the CAP Democrats and Shavonda and the other candidates for being here, and for you for hosting this wonderful forum. I hope this and other efforts allow me the opportunity to earn your vote on November 7th. If you have any questions or concerns about what we discussed tonight, or maybe something we didn't discuss, you can call me on my mobile. It's my personal cell phone I've had since 1998, 404-822-7059. That's 404-822-7059. Or you can email me at john@electpark.com. Please visit my website, electpark.com, if you'd like to join our campaign, donate, or read more about my background. I would be honored if you would vote for me to continue to serve you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Park. We will go to candidate Mark Frost for your closing statements.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a great experience and an opportunity to express my viewpoint with some voters. And but I just got to get back to this $78 million for, well, the mayor and the council is going to have a really nice house. Why don't we do it for half and just buy people a bunch of houses? Okay, I can't get over that whole project. But anyways, I know this is a nonpartisan contest, race, whatever, but I think it's apparent to everybody who's watching that I'm a conservative and probably the only conservative in the group. So in my mind, you can vote for my point of view and what I'm saying I'm going to do, or you can have basically more of the same. And so it's up to you. And I await your judgment. I mean, if Brookhaven wants more of the same, I'm okay. If they want a fresh approach, vote for me. Well, I appreciate it. And but again, it's your judgment and I await it. Thank you.
Thank you again, Mr. Frost. We will now read the response from Ms. Lauren, her closing statement. Thank you again, DeKalb County Democrats, for organizing tonight's forum. I love Brookhaven, and I want to see our city to continue the improvements and innovations that we have had since our city was founded. We need to continue to support our police and staff that makes the city safe, clean, and accessible. We need a leader who knows how to work within the community and who will reach out and can to other communities and to the broader region to find more ways to make this city the best place to live, work, and play, while at the same time being accessible, transparent, and financially sound. Recently, I had the privilege of seeing Ambassador Andrew Young speak in an event, and he has said that having relationships is the key to making things happen. I have those relationships. I know how to grow organizations. I know how to lead organizations. I know how to work with internal and external stakeholders, and I will do what I can to get things done. Again, I'm running to be the next mayor of Brookhaven, and I ask for and hope to earn your vote on or before November 7th. Thank you. Last but not least, we will have Ms. Hillary Lind.
Well, first, I want to thank you all for having me on tonight. I'm really excited for the future of Brookhaven. As you can see, some of the other candidates don't possess the background nor the passion to actually provide the resources that the community actually needs. Their stance and focus has remained on their political careers and only seeing constituents as a dollar sign. As one of my opponents referred to the Diversity Commission effort as common sense and a socialistic idea, we see that certain potential leaders don't necessarily see community as the future. And so as your future mayor, I will listen to you, take your thoughts into consideration, and allow you to help me to lead the city into its great potential.
Thank you again, Ms. Lind. And we will go to our council representative, District 1, Ms. Lindley Jones. Your closing statement.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you call me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate this opportunity that you've given to all of us and hopefully to folks watching as well. During my time on council, I have worked hard to protect the single family residential character of District 1 of the city of Brookhaven. I've worked hard to be fiscally responsible and ethical, and I'm proven and tested, and I will continue the hard work if you re-elect me. I'm running again because I don't want to risk what we have spent 10 years building. And when I say we, I don't mean we elected officials. I mean we as a city, as a community, this wonderful and admired city of Brookhaven. Let's keep a good thing going.
Thank you again, Councilwoman Jones. We will also have closing statements from Council Representative District 2, Blake Byer.
Thank you again for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to speak on these important issues and lay out the positions that I believe will continue to help Brookhaven grow and mature into the city that we all want. Having grown up in a military family, duty, respect, integrity, accountability, honesty, and selfless service are part of who I am. Accountability and transparency are critical to trust in our city. I believe government functions best when there is nothing to hide, and I will work to simplify and demystify the workings of government for everyone to follow. We should be as clear to our constituents as possible about what we are doing, why we are doing it, and how it serves them. Every citizen should feel like they are represented by our city and be treated with dignity and respect. I intend to represent everyone in District 2 and listen to their concerns and feedback. I hope to continue this conversation with you and my fellow District 2 voters and to earn their trust and their vote. Thank you again. Good night. Blake Byer, District 2.
Thank you, Candidate Byer. Last but not least, we have Council Representative District 2, Ms. Jen Owens, for closing statements.
Thank you. I appreciate being invited to this forum. Thank you to DeKalb Democrats for making tonight a success. And most importantly, thank you to folks who tuned in tonight. If you have questions or need more information, I hope you'll reach out to me, jen@electjenowens.com. I welcome these forums because it's an opportunity to show how I'm qualified and prepared to lead as your District 2 councilwoman. I've been engaged for 10 years in formal service with the city of Brookhaven, serving on both city charter commissions, the Affordable Housing Task Force, and the Zoning Rewrite Committee. I've also rolled up my sleeves in informal service, building community and advocating for things like the Ashford Park green space, park improvements, and our community places value on it being family-friendly, neighborly, clean, safe, and affordable. I'm prepared to be a good steward of the city's resources, managing a multi-million-dollar budget every day in which I make tough decisions on how I can be best effective with limited resources. And most importantly, I share your vision for our community, in which neighborhoods within District 2 and throughout Brookhaven continue to be the best place to live, build a business, raise a family, all while enjoying first-class services, a safe and responsive government, beautiful parks, and a strong community fabric while providing a great ROI for our tax dollars. I'm
Thank
running.
you so much, Councilor. Thank you so much for your closing statements. I will now turn it back over to Ms. Brandy White. Thank you so much to all the candidates for our Brookhaven Town Hall.
Thank you so much to everyone for being here tonight. First off, want to thank Shavonda Miles for moderating this evening's forum. I know that there was a lot of questions and a lot of things to go through. I really want to thank you for taking the time to be here with us tonight. Also want to thank each of our candidates. As we've shared, this is a nonpartisan forum. We here at DeKalb Democrats believe that it's very important for our municipal elected officials, for you all to understand what their policy positions are, what they believe in, and what they are planning to do for the future of Brookhaven, and next up for the future of Chamblee. So we are going to take a 2-minute break. I know it has been a very busy last hour. Again, thank you to all of our candidates that are here tonight. So happy to see you, very excited for your campaigns, and we are looking forward to hearing more from you as you go into November 7th. Thank you, everyone. We'll take a quick break and we will be back in 2 minutes. Thank you all. Okay, in the interest of time, we are going to go ahead and dive back in. I believe we have all of our candidates for the city of Chamblee. Excellent. All right, let's get started. Everyone, thank you so much for being here tonight. My name is Brandy White. I am the chair of DeKalb County Democratic Committee. I want to welcome you and thank you for coming to the first night of 6 of our 2023 nonpartisan municipal forums. Tonight, we are going to hear from municipal candidates from the city of Chamblee. We actually just wrapped up our candidate forum for the city of Brookhaven. We hold these forums because we cannot stress enough the importance of voting in every single election. We like to say that politics is local, meaning that elected officials that can have some of the most important impact on your life and your family's life are actually elected at the local level. I'm actually going to start us off this evening by introducing our moderator for our Chamblee Forum. Our moderator is John Montes de Oca, who is an accomplished professional currently working as a trade marketing manager for Income Payments and has previously been a Spanish teacher for 11 years. He is passionate about politics and family. He is a lifelong learner, and supporting his knowledge for current events helps him maintain his close relationship with his extended family, along with his family of 4 stepchildren. So I am actually going to pass it over to John. Are you there, John?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair.
Great. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Buenas noches for those that speak Spanish. So tonight we are going to dive in and learn a little bit more about the city of Chamblee. The legislative and policy making functions of the city of Chamblee are vested in a board consisting of the mayor and 5 council members. The city has they are elected in nonpartisan elections for overlapping 4-year term. The city has a population of approximately 30,000 with a median age of 33 years of age, median income of approximately 72,000, and it has a 34% population of white, 38% Hispanic or Latino, 18% Black, and 10% Asian, racial and ethnic breakdown. The current mayor of Chamblee is Brian Mock, Chamblee's first gay mayor. The city is divided into 4 council districts and 1 at-large district. The at-large council member is Jimmy First. Other council members are John Mesa in District 1, Mayor Pro Tempore Leslie C. Robson in District 2, Paul Stovall in District 3, and Elmer Veyes in District 4. Council members Robson and Stovall are in the running. Now, candidates, you may turn your videos and audio on. The ground rules are as follows. Each candidate will have 60 seconds to make an opening statement with 60 seconds to answer. Each candidate will have 60 seconds to make a closing statement. I please ask you to not call out any other candidates by name. Please, let's focus on the issues and policies. Now, candidates, we will begin tonight with opening statements. Again, please state what you feel makes you unique and qualify for this position in 60 seconds. We'll start with Council Member District 2, Leslie C. Robson.
Good evening. I'm delighted to be here on this forum. I have been a councilwoman in the city of Chamblee since for 16 years. January 1st will be the end of my 4th term. And I have seen a lot of changes in the city of Chamblee. I wanted to get involved with in local government so that I could be part of making those changes. When I got on the council, Chamblee was losing its income base. We were losing our industry, and we were losing our young people. There were no jobs for them to stay here for, and we just were languishing for a while. And I saw that we needed to make ourselves a lot more desirable place to live, and so I got involved. I've done a lot of reading. I've done a lot of studying. I've done a lot of attended many classes on redevelopment, on how local governments operate, on every myriad of detail of city life. And I feel because of that I have learned a lot. I have helped instigate a lot in the city of Chamblee. I was born into a military family, lived all over the world until I was 8, and then moved into a town. And in my lifetime, I have watched disintegrate. And I began to understand the importance of small towns and of communities and of social life in small towns. And I realized that Chamblee needed to remain a community and remain a viable place for people to be born, raised, go to school, come back home after college and have a life and grow old. And unfortunately, we know the results of the rest of that story. And I wanted that for myself. And
I
wanted
apologize.
that.
I'm going to have to pause
Thank
you.
you.
We are on a time limit, but thank you so much for
you.
the introduction, John.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Next, we will hear from Council Member Michael Braun.
Hello, everyone. I will start with a quick clerical update. Steve, we cannot see your camera. So for that 5-second countdown, come on camera and you can tell me when to shut up. It's great to see everybody on the attendee list. I'm sorry to see that we lost some folks from Brookhaven because this is where the real action is. So thank you for hanging out. I see some familiar names. That's really encouraging. When I moved to Chamblee, it was like the pioneers coming at the end of the Oregon Trail. I could see the forest part, and I knew that this is where I wanted to live. This is where I wanted to raise my children. This was the first place that I ever owned a home. I did not grow up in homes. I grew up in apartments, and having a home, having a sense of community, it was really important to me. And I knew that the way to maximize my happiness here was by getting involved. So I made it a point to get involved in the local politics. I made it a point to go to the city council meetings. I needed to understand how this all worked. You know, governance is really important to me. I believe that a better country starts with a better community. The city of Chamblee grew out of this railroad intersection and has been a place for gathering since the early 1900s. We're no stranger to community. We have to understand, though, that the population of Chamblee has effectively tripled in the last decade, and we must be prepared to meet the challenges that come with that. So I look forward to talking with everyone over the next few months and for running for City Council, District 2 in Chamblee.
Thank you. Now we will hear from, Mr. Ian Sanderson was invited, but he declined. We will move on to Mr. Paul Stovall.
All right. Hi, my name is Paul Stovall, and I'm I've served on Chamblee City Council for the past 8 months. I was afforded the opportunity to run last year when to complete Karen Lupton's term when she left us to go represent us at the State House. So that's been a great adventure there. I've been a resident of Chamblee for 19 years, and but I've been coming since the 80s because my grandparents lived in this area. Since moving in, my wife and I got involved in a lot of the volunteer groups, and I even served a brief tour on the Design Review Board. Right after annexation into Chamblee, my wife and I attended Chamblee 101, and that's a program that everybody who's from Chamblee should join next year. So I spent this past 8 months learning about running city government. There's required and optional training and many other meetings. I look forward to continuing the work for the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we will hear from Mr. Ben Quankibush.
Yes, thank you. My name is Ben Quackenbush, and I'm here running as a candidate for District 3. I've lived in Chamblee since 2018. Professionally, I'm an intermodal network designer, also known as a railroad designer. Through this role, I have gained valuable experience in managing complex logistics, optimizing operations, and ensuring a seamless flow of resources. I think these skills directly translate to the responsibilities as City Council. Being able to build through thoughtful planning is essential, and being prosperous in that planning comes from our harmonious community. And those are two things I look to build here in Chamblee. As an Eagle Scout, I've learned the value of leadership, community service, and leaving a positive impact on my surroundings. I recently completed Chamblee 101. Great shout out there. And I am excited to take this campaign. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, we're going to hear from Mr. Elmer Vegas.
Thank you very much. Again, my name is Elmer Veith. I currently serve as the council member for District 4 in Chamblee. For those who don't know, District 4 is the most recently created district in the city. The city went through a redistricting in 2021, which created the ability for me to run for the seat. My wife and I have lived in our house since 2004. We've actually been here since before we were Chamblee. I'm one of the people that led the annexation efforts in 2013 to bring the area at the southern end of what is now Chamblee into the city fold. Before that, I've lived in the Atlanta metro area since 1999. I've been one of the people who's kind of one of the rabble rousers in the neighborhood when it was DeKalb County, going in front of the commissioners when there were issues that had to be addressed. And then even after annexation to Chamblee, being one of the people that made sure to check in with the mayor and the city manager and the council to make sure things are going on the right track. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we will move to our question section. For this section, again, you will each have 60 seconds to respond. And we will start with Ms. Leslie Robson. Ms. Robson, in 2020, Chamblee's primary ethnic composition consisted of 34% white, 38% Hispanic, 18% Black or African American, and 10% Asian. The question is, when you look at the current makeup of Chamblee government, do you think that Chamblee does a good job of representing its diverse citizenry in local government?
I think that Chamblee is doing an admirable job. There's always room for improvement, but within our city staff, we have many women. We have different ethnicities represented, and within our police department, we have an across-the-board representation of our international community. We've also empowered our police department to reach out to the various communities within the city of Chamblee. We have a COPS program, which, let me get this correct, is a community-oriented policing program. We reach out to the various apartment complexes and other concerned entities and try to interact with them, try to address their concerns, try to let them understand that the police department and the city of Chamblee is here for them and willing to listen to them and here for their protection. So we've done that, and we've done that for a long time. We've done that for a long part of the time that I've been on council.
Thank you very much. And next, Mr. Michael Braun. When you look at the current makeup of Chamblee government, do you think Chamblee does a good job of representing its diverse citizenry in local government?
Yeah, there's two questions here, and this is a theme I'll return to. There's the question of, does the Chamblee City Council represent its diverse citizenry well with their interactions with the city staff and things like that? I think that we are doing an admirable job. I think that the communication pathways to the citizenship need to continue to improve. I've seen some improvement, so that's really exciting. But there's also the question of, what is the city of Chamblee doing to represent itself? The last municipal election, we only had a 14% participation rate. Hispanic voters made up 3% of that total voting population. That's 3% of the 14%. And Asian voters only made up 4%. These are very low numbers. I think the first step to better representation starts with engaging your representative government. So one of my goals this campaign is to raise that ballot engagement from 14% to 20%. That includes making people feel welcome at the polls and giving them the encouragement they need to vote. So there are some other things that we can do specifically. Our electoral system has the entire city vote for each district. That's something that we can look into, but we want to engage the citizens on it, whatever we do.
Thank you, Mr. Braun. And next, we will hear from Mr. Paul Stovall. Mr. Stovall, when you look at the current makeup of the Chamblee government, do you think Chamblee does a good job of representing its diverse citizenry in local government?
Yes. So short answer, yes, we do, but we're always striving to do more. This past year, especially, the city has hosted numerous events all over the city in various neighborhoods. We've also increased our community outreach group and hired staff that better suits the areas we're trying to reach, with the goal of reaching all of our cultures. We have a lot in our city, but many of our citizens and many of our communities are in immigrant heavy areas where they have a natural distrust for police from their country of origin. So that's something we have to work really hard on. We had a Atlanta United party over at Plaza Fiesta that was broadcast in Spanish, which was interesting for me because I only have high school Spanish. And then we also advertise in 3 languages for all of our events now. And one last thing, we're also connecting our city with sidewalks and biking trails in an effort to bring people closer together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ben Quackenbush, same question. When you look at the current makeup of the Chamblee government, do you think Chamblee does a good job of representing its diverse citizenry in local government? 60 seconds.
Thank you. While looking at the current makeup of the city government, I do believe there's room for improvement. Over the past 6 days in registering to become a qualified candidate, I've encountered numerous barriers that, as a native English speaker, don't represent what would be the same situation when translated to Spanish. So I do believe there is an obligation and an opportunity for our city council to help foster a dialogue and transparency of the city so that we can reach these diverse populations that we are a part of. You can check out my website, backquackchamblee.com. I've outlined my top 3 priorities there, including community services. Raising awareness about available services and collaborating with nonprofits can boost our participation rate, not only in voting, but in our city council. Myself, as I said earlier, inspired by Chamblee 101, I even envision a Chamblee 101 in Spanish. With the ability to engage this 40% of Hispanic and Latino population within Chamblee, I think it empowers us to create a diverse city council as well as community.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Elmer I apologize, Veith. Now it's your turn to answer. When you look at the current makeup of the Chamblee government, do you think Chamblee does a good job of representing its diverse citizenry in government? 50 seconds.
So I guess the question is, are we talking about the elected government or the people that actually do all the real work? When you talk about that, you're talking about our city staff, from our city manager on down. As Councilmember Robson mentioned, when you look at our city staff, it is an incredible group of people from all kinds of backgrounds, from various ethnic groups, however you want to look at it. If you're looking at our city council through a lens of just an ethnic comparison, well, then no, it doesn't. But you need to look beyond that. There's a lot more to the question than that. When you actually get to know our council, you find out that we have a member of council who grew up in public housing. We have members of council who grew up all over the different parts of the country, different socioeconomic backgrounds, different educational experiences. I think that is a very good representation of who our city is and what it wishes to be.
Thank you very much. And now we will be moving on to, again, you, Mr. Elmer Veith, for the second question. The question is as follows. What is your understanding of tax abatements for developers and how they are affecting Chamblee and DeKalb County?
So I said this when I ran 2 years ago, and I still say it. Abatements drive me crazy. And a big part of the problem is people don't understand what the function is. Overall, the selective use of abatements has been a very important tool for Chamblee for its economic development. It is a tool. It is one of many tools. It has to be used correctly. The goal being that if you are giving someone an abatement in order to make a development happen, you're giving them a break in their taxes. You're not giving away the taxes. The goal is, even from day one, that property will be paying at least as much, if not a bit more, in property tax than it did as sitting as whatever was undeveloped or underused before. Is it being used well? I think Chamblee's doing a great job. Is it being used well across all of DeKalb County? That's a much, much different question. And it's something I don't have control over. In Chamblee, the only abatements that are given out are by our Downtown Development Authority, which covers a very small portion of our city. And it's done an incredible job. We've had developers come and ask to have abatements applied to other parts of the city. And at least at this point in time, we don't think it's the right answer. But again, it's a tool. It has to be used carefully, and it can do a very, very good job.
Thank you very much. And we will go now back to Mr. Ben Quackenbush. Same question. What is your understanding of tax abatements for developers and how they are affecting Chamblee and DeKalb County?
Sure. Thank you. I think this one hits home to me. District 3 right now is currently in, the city of Chamblee is currently in litigation about the PDK airport and the tax abatements that have been questionable brought down from DeKalb County. As someone who lives across the street from the airport, I am affected by the airport on a daily basis. So I wholeheartedly support John Walker, city manager, and his effort leading litigation against DeKalb County to make sure that our businesses are actively paying the taxes in which they should. You know, taking that tax dollars away from the city of Chamblee allows for other deteriorations that or projects that don't receive full funding. So I am in full support, as I said, of John Walker, city manager, bringing litigation against DeKalb County. And I hope to see that this is resolved. Hopefully the next time we have an abatement issue, we don't have to take to litigation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next, we're going to hear from Mr. Paul Stovall. Same question. What is your understanding of tax abatements for developers and how they are affecting Chamblee and DeKalb County? 60 seconds.
Right. Elmer stole a little bit of my thunder here, but he's right. Abatements are just one of the tools we use to attract business and targeted development to certain areas. Properly used, they spur economic growth and improve life for people in the city. They do this by bringing development to an area that would not normally attract investment. Chamblee's had a few of these projects in the past that have gone really well, and the benefit to the city and the people after the fact is far exceeded any costs in the initial setup. Abatements also help us put specific requirements on some projects like affordable housing units, sidewalks, making a nice park, or making it fit the area a little better. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Michael Braun, we will ask the same question. What is your understanding of tax abatements and for developers and how they are affecting Chamblee and DeKalb County?
Yeah, thanks, John. You can see that we've got a positive view of the abatements for the people who have been tuned into what's going on. My understanding is that they've brought a number of revenue positive businesses to Chamblee. Abatements are built on a concept of 25% of 10 million is better than 100% of nothing. But when you are involved in making those decisions, you have to pay really strict attention to what's going on. I think the tendency is when you want to kill an issue, you act like it's simple. But I went to school to be an engineer. I understand that initial conditions and variables stack up very quickly. So we've got a downtown development authority that's very active. It has a good relationship with the city council. John Mesa is the council representative. These abatements are not taken lightly. Any tax revenue off the table, it's got to be scrutinized, just like any tax revenue you want to put on the table has to be scrutinized. I'm in sales now. I would never want to discount a product if the customer was willing to pay full price, but the budget in Chamblee is not in dire straits. And as far as DeKalb County goes, you don't want to take taxes away from the school system, but the school system has money right now they're trying to figure out how to spend. So overall, I think abatements are a good thing and should continue to be used responsibly.
Thank you. And Ms. Leslie Robson, same question. What is your understanding of tax abatements for developers and how they are affecting Chamblee and DeKalb County?
When we enabled a downtown development authority in the city of Chamblee, I was the council representative, and the first abatement that was requested of us was for a totally vacant piece of land that was the International Village Market, whatever, International Market, I'm sorry, International Farmers Market. And we got the Oliver out of it. And what we got from giving them an abatement was, number one, a first-class developer coming to the city of Chamblee and taking a chance that it was worthwhile to build this development. We also got him to comply with our retail on the bottom floor. Those are two big deals that were very hard to sell to other developers. So that broke the ice. From then on, the DDA has changed what they have required, what they have been willing to give an abatement for, and what they have required in return for the abatements. We get sidewalks from it. We get retail where a lot of developers don't want to put retail. And we need retail.
Thank you so much, Ms. Robson. All right, so our next question will go to you, Ms. Propson. The question goes as follows. How satisfied are you with the Chamblee government's current collaborative relationships with DeKalb County? And if elected, what will be your #1 top strategy to improve Chamblee's collaborative relationship with DeKalb County?
I think we have a pretty good relationship with DeKalb County. There's always room for improvement, as you well know. DeKalb County's form of government is different than other forms of government in that it is a CEO form of government. So our relationship with the CEO is the big picture. Of course, we are in a lawsuit with DeKalb County over tax revenues from the businesses at the airport. But on the other hand, we work well with the county on other issues. We are collaborating with the county. We collaborate with them on our, mental health provisions because we're too small of a city to have our own mental health department. So I think that we do well. We do communicate with them. We do. We have just recently gone through a SPLOST negotiation with them, and it was a negotiation, and both sides gave, and we came to an agreement. So I think we have a good relationship. I think we trust each other, and I think that we know that in the end that we all want what's best for our citizens.
Thank you very much. And let's go to Mr. Michael Braun. The same question. How satisfied are you with Chamblee government's current collaborative relationships with DeKalb County? And if elected or re-elected, what will be your number one top strategy to improve Chamblee's collaborative relationship with DeKalb County?
I wouldn't go as far as to say I'm satisfied, because that makes it sound like we've reached a sustainable level. I think that when you look at relationships between two large forms of government, you're not looking just at this government versus that government. There are a lot of individuals that have good relationships, and it's important to maintain them. DeKalb County has school board, they've got elections division, they've got stormwater, they've got sustainability, they've got IT, all these different things that we have to maintain good relationships with. I know DeKalb County has its fair share of challenges, and there have been instances of Chamblee City Hall coming in and taking over some things like floodplains and watershed management. So I'd like to see more of that where is responsible. To put good pressure on DeKalb County and to improve our relationships, we got to bear in mind that their election is right after ours. Our citizens are going to focus on the president and what's going on in Congress and state levels, and we can engage as their representatives with the commission level and the CEO level. So I'd like to be sure to be at those meetings and follow that election as a DeKalb citizen.
Thank you. Mr. Paul Stovall, the same question. How satisfied are you with the Chamblee government's current collaborative relationship with DeKalb County? And if elected or re-elected, what would be your one top strategy to improve Chamblee's collaborative relationship with DeKalb County?
Yeah, that's a lot to say there. Good job. First, we are DeKalb, and part of DeKalb is Chamblee. So we're in the same boat. It's not like we're against them or anything. Honestly, I'd like to see improvement in this area, but I have history. So we were in the unincorporated area, the most recent annexed area to Chamblee. And this was 10 years ago. And we felt that the county was not serving us well. We were not satisfied with the services and the representation. So we sought annexation. That was 10 years ago. The same leaders aren't there anymore. And it's time for the new leaders, me and the other folks, to step up and get the job done. Also, from their point of view, they've been fighting off all these annexation attempts and city incorporations. So I can see from their point of view that it would look like, hey, all these people hate us. And I could see how there could be emotions there. But, I feel like we have a bunch of responsible adults, all professionals, and the city leaders and the county leaders need to get together and move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, Ben Kwankiewicz. Same question. How satisfied are you with the Chamblee's government's current collaborative relationships with DeKalb County, and if elected or re-elected, what will be your #1 top strategy to improve Chamblee's collaborative relationship with DeKalb County?
Thank you, John. I think honestly, there's always room for improvement. If there wasn't room for improvement, we wouldn't need city council, right? DeKalb County would keep all citizens at bay or keep all citizens happy, and there would be no back and forth needed. I think one of the things that I can bring is, as a resident of DeKalb since 2018, I have a fresh view. I don't have a long tenure. I don't know who the old guard is. I'm really learning right now who the new guard is. In my professional career, I'm dealing with people across multiple continents in different time zones and striking forward to a common goal. I think if we can come to a consensus between DeKalb County and Chamblee on certain key issues that are important to our constituents, I think the 5% of the population of DeKalb County that lives in Chamblee can be well served. Once again, I appreciate everything that DeKalb County has done. I do think there's room for improvement. And if you want to read more about it, check out my website, benquackchamblee.com.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Elmer V, same question. How satisfied are you with Chamblee's government's current collaborative relationships with DeKalb County? And if elected or re-elected, what will be your #1 top strategy to improve Chamblee's collaborative relationship with DeKalb County?
Thank you, John. I mean, the big thing to remember, there's really kind of two DeKalbs. There's the Board of Commissioners, which I know several members of, talk with them, go to meetings with them, have no problem. And I've known them. I've known the members of the commission for almost 20 years in various forms. And then you have the CEO's office. The challenge becomes that these two things work very differently. It's kind of the complaint that you hear from residents throughout DeKalb County is that commissioners will jump on things to take care of them because these other departments aren't answering their questions. And it makes it really hard for everybody. How do you improve that? One, we keep doing what we're doing. We keep trying to work with them. Obviously, we can work together. We just hammered out a SPLOST agreement over the last few weeks to actually have a plan to move all that forward. I think DeKalb has some bigger things to think about for themselves. There's obviously some issues about how people perceive them in running the municipal efforts. That's something that they need to focus on as well.
Thank you very much. And now we are going to move on to the next question. And Mr. V, you will be going again. The question is, how do you feel about Chamblee's current efforts to address affordable housing? What improvements, if any, should be made to enhance affordable housing opportunities in Chamblee?
This is one I know a good bit about. I serve on the city's housing committee. The city of Chamblee is involved in the Georgia Initiative for Community Housing, the GIC effort, which is a program run through DCA to help cities and even counties work on their housing issues. We're not doing enough. No one is. And I'm not sure it's possible to do enough. And it's certainly not possible to do too much. The challenge we have in Chamblee is that the majority of our city is already built out. We don't have a lot of available land. We don't have the advantages of some of the counties and further corners of the state have, where they can go and clear 200 or 300 acres to build things. Our city's 7 square miles and it's about 75% built. So it's going to require increasing density. If we're going to increase supply, which we increase density, it's going to mean either more apartments, or it's going to mean changing in single family areas, going to smaller lots, allowing more housing to be built. None of it's going to be easy, and it's not going to be fast. It's going to take a long time to get it sorted out, but we are trying to work on it.
Thank you very much. Mr. Quackenbush, the same question. How do you feel about Chamblee's current efforts to address affordable housing? What improvements, if any, should be made to enhance affordable housing opportunities in Chamblee?
Thanks, Sean. So this afternoon, I read a large portion of the 103-page report that was presented by RKG. I focused primarily on the strategies portions of this affordable housing survey. And I agree with some of the strategies that they have implemented. And I'm also a little hesitant about some other strategies. One of the strategies I agree on is enacting an inclusionary zone, making sure that because Chamblee is 60% renters, we need to make sure that we slice off 10%, as Brookhaven has done, to low and income households so that there is affordable housing. I think the next step, however, as stated, is that land use. And here in Chamblee, we don't have much land left to develop. I am not in favor of taking down single family unit houses. That's the reason I'm here. There was an affordable single family house in Chamblee and I was inside the perimeter. It met all my boxes. Taking down my neighborhood to put up another large complex is not something I'm in favor for. However, I am in favor for connecting our city. I think one of the problems with equal housing is the connectivity of those equal housing opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Paul Sobel, the same question. How do you feel about Chamblee's current efforts to address affordable housing? What improvements, if any, should be made to enhance affordable housing opportunities in Chamblee?
All right. Yeah, thank you. Chamblee's been working on this issue since before I got on city council, and I intend to push for its continuance. When we moved in, our house was half of the price it is now. So, which is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. So in the city, we have Mercy Park and a couple other developments already done, and there's one under construction, and we're looking to to continue that. Affordable housing is also one of those targeted outcomes of our tax abatements. So to get developers to include affordable housing in a certain percentage of their development plans. The reason this is all important, I think everybody knows, is because if this goes unchecked, the people that work in the city at the restaurants and the stores it'll eventually become, they'll have to move so far out that the drive to work won't be worth it, and they'll leave and get jobs elsewhere, and then the city will suffer. So this is something we need to address. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, Mr. Michael Braun, it's the same question. How do you feel about Chamblee's current efforts to address affordable housing? What improvements, if any, should be made to enhance affordable housing opportunities in Chamblee?
Well, like I said, John, I grew up in apartments. I'm a big fan of the community that you can find there. But in seeking out ways to increase the voting population and increase engagement, one thing I hear a lot is that multifamily residential, people inside, they don't vote. It's too transient a population. And, there is a decided opinion about more MDUs and building them out. There's no silver bullet for affordable housing. It's supply versus demand, and you have to be able to increase the supply without decreasing the demand, because that means people don't want to live there. We have got great current efforts, responsible zoning, tax abatements, responsible code exemptions for big projects. Those are all very important. But if our citizens don't want to increase the number of MDUs, we have to be aware that we're representing them. We're not trying to reduce the cost of housing. We're trying to represent our citizens. So to improve this, we need someone who can cross the aisle, believes in community possible in the apartment buildings, but can build that coalition necessary to provide affordable housing while protecting our property value.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Leslie Robson, same question to you. How do you feel about Chamblee's current efforts to address affordable housing? What improvements, if any, should be made to enhance affordable housing opportunities in Chamblee?
Chamblee, a long time ago, got involved in trying to come up with and to allow and to attract some affordable housing. The first development that we got was Mercy Care affordable apartments for seniors. And Chamblee, the city, bent over backwards. We relaxed code for the building of that building, and we have continued to do that. Housing, by the way, has been a great partner for us. They have another development with, by the way, a health component next door to it that is to serve underserved and poor people that can't afford health insurance. They have another single family attached development that they're trying to bring out of the ground. We've also used tax abatements to encourage apartment builders to put in affordable housing.
Thank you, Ms. Robson. Thank you very much. And guess what? This is the last question. So we are gonna get ready for closing remarks. Remember, you will have 60 seconds to answer. Let's start with Mr. Elmer Vieth. 60 seconds, closing remarks.
Thank you, John. I just want to first off thank the DeKalb Democrats for putting this together for everyone. It's a great opportunity. The reality, though, is 60 seconds to answer a question just isn't enough, especially with questions that go to the depth that these do. I've been on council for 2 years. I've been involved with the city since I already came into it 10 years ago, and I want to keep working on that. I have goals that I've just begun to work on between the path and trail systems, changes for housing, trying to improve the community as a whole. If you want to talk to me about it, please reach out. elmerforchamblee.com is my website. All my contact information is in there. And my email address is on the city website under District 4 council member. I welcome everyone's questions. And I look forward to getting out and seeing more folks between now and November 7th. Thank you very much. And just one last thing, the last name is pronounced Vieth. Long I, not so, but thank you.
And Mr. Quackenbush, 60 seconds, closing remarks.
Thanks, John. Once again, I'd like as well to thank the DeKalb Democrats for hosting this meeting. This is very informative. It's really close to when we all qualified for candidacy, so I appreciate that as well. If there are any more questions for me, please feel free to reach out to me via my website, BACK, Quack, Q-U-A-C-K, Chamblee.com. I have the links there to all my socials. Hit me up. Would love to communicate. I would also like to remind everyone that early voting starts October 18th. Please make sure that if you can't make it on election day, November 7th, that you show up for early voting. I've utilized early voting since I've been a resident of Chamblee, and in Chamblee, it's very fast. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Paul Stovall, 60 seconds, closing remarks.
All right, yeah, thanks for hosting this great event and getting us in touch with the community like this. Since I decided to serve last year, I've learned much about our city and city government. And I feel that I'm ready to take on the issues in the next 4 years and beyond with the current city council and our excellent city staff. One little public statement here is that being involved in your local government is the most impactful way to change your community. When it comes to federal or state issues, you're just one of millions of voices. But in a city of 32,000, your vote carries more weight and your voice carries more weight. Just thanks everyone for listening to us. And I hope you'll give me a chance at a full term in the next 4 years, starting this November. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Michael Braun, 60 seconds, closing remarks.
Vote, vote, vote. And the people I'm talking to on the attendees list, I imagine you guys are already voting. So go out to your neighbors and tell them to vote. I appreciate the DeKalb Dem so much. I mean, putting this thing together, it's great to hear what people are saying. It's great to have this back and forth. 60 seconds, it's not enough. It's not enough, but that's obviously not your fault. We have so many people out here. We have to be able to hear everybody. So one of the first things that I did engaging in governance was going to the Gold Dome and talking to the bipartisan group on redistricting. And I encouraged them to don't split us up, red and blue. Keep everyone mixed together. Encourage people to go out and talk to their neighbors. That's the important thing. And so one of the things that I'm so blessed to incur by running for city council is the opportunity to go, a constitutionally protected opportunity to go out and talk to my neighbors. So I really appreciate that. If you have any questions, I'm going to steal from our Brookhaven brothers. My personal phone number is 850-241-3860, and you can email me at michael@braunforchamblee.com.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Leslie Robson, closing remarks.
You're right. 60 seconds is not enough time to answer these questions. I think personally, my fellow council members have done a really good job of answering the questions. I've seen Chamblee come up from a city of 7,000 to a city of 30,000. Yes, we've had 2 annexations. They have been citizen driven. And I have seen us start to have life again. I've seen us start to have a community that they want to live here. People want to live here, and with many, many, many offerings. And so I hope that I get reelected so that I can continue doing the work that I've done. My website is leslierobson.com. Go take a look at it. I hope that you will reelect me so that we can continue our upward and onward trajectory. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to each and every one of you. I am John Montes de Oca, and take it away, Madam Chair.
Awesome. Thank you so much, John. And thank you to all of our candidates that have been here with us this evening. As a reminder, my name is Brandy White. I am the chair of DeKalb County Democrats, and we have really enjoyed having everyone here tonight. And thank you for everyone for joining us, whether you are here in the audience or one of our candidates speaking with us this evening. As our candidates have shared, it is so important to vote. I cannot stress that enough. It is easy to think that we only vote every 4 years, but voting for municipal elected officials can be one of the most important things you do in your life and the lives of your families. So if you are watching this tonight, please make a plan to go vote. Again, thank you to John. Thank you to our candidates here this evening. Thank you to everyone here at DeKalb Dems who has worked tirelessly to put on tonight's event. This is the first night of our 6 different municipal forums that we're going to have over the next month. So if you enjoyed this, please come back for others as well. I'm going to now pass it over to Steve Parker, who is the head of our event planning, and he is going to share a little bit more about what else is going on here at DeKalb Dems.
Thank you so much, Brandy, and thank you for your leadership of DeKalb Dems. We appreciate all that you do. Thanks to moderators Shavonda Miles and John Montes de Oca, fantastic moderators, our technical crew, Paula Anderson, Gareth LaCourneau, Elaine de Simone, Leona Perry, as well as Karen Davenport, Susan McWethy, and Anna Rabinowitz, who did the research and put together the candidate questions. And Larry Lowe and the entire special events team for the planning that's gone into this. Our next forum is Tucker and Pine Lake, coming up on Wednesday, September 13th at 6 p.m. Please look for a link to our YouTube channel where you can see the recording of this forum and others. So we'll let you know where to find that. Thank you all so much for your time tonight. We wish you well. Please vote this November. Have a great evening. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.